for pound, the greatest on earth in the fight game, the welterweight champion, a man who dons anybody that stands in front of him, UFC legend and great, Kamaru Usman.
Yeah!
What's up, man?
What's up? Did you say panned for panned? Or did you say pound for... I didn't know if you said panned or Pam or with two N's there. I don't know which one it was. Are you saying Pam or Pam?
I'll say it again. We'll go through it. Pound for pound.
Okay, I thought I was the only one who heard that.
No, yeah, that is how I said it. That's a Pittsburgh accent. Pound for pound, the best fighter on earth. How you doing, man? Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you.
I'm wonderful. I appreciate you guys having me on the show. My first time on the show, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Now, you're born in Nigeria, born and raised Texas. Is that accurate? That as I was looking into this?
Born in Nigeria, raised in Arlington, Texas, and bounced around the Midwest for college and ended up in South Florida.
At what point did you know you were just like going to be the toughest dude of all time? Was that young? Did you know, like, okay, at one point I'm going to be the pound for pound? Like, at what point did you know, Kamaru?
Oh, man. I think it was, I would say college, to where I had to just make a conscious decision for myself that I wanted to be good at something. There is the formula to being good at it and just chug away and try to get there. So I think being able to make that decision by myself early was a big thing for me, because I didn't need a coach to tell me, hey, you need to do this. I didn't need some friends to say, hey, you got to do this. It was just, hey, I want to do that. That's what it takes to get there. I'm doing it. So I think that was the point that I kind of just started to create separation between myself and the rest of the field, whichever sport I was in.
That's awesome.
What's it like having everybody wanting to fight you, or everyone wants a shot at the title? I feel like you work your way up, you get there, and now everybody wants. I've heard older fighters say like they were almost relieved when they would get beat and lose the belt. It was too much pressure for them. That doesn't seem to affect you. Like, how do you handle that?
Now, I'm going to be honest. Not when those older fighters say that, I understand what they're saying when they say that. I completely understand what they're saying. Yeah, once you get there, you would think, oh, now you're a champion, everything else is smoother. No, it's not the case at all. It's just the pressure continues to build. So, because each and every fight, there's more and more riding on it. But for me, it's just a matter of, I don't think of myself as, hey, I'm the champion, I'm going out there to defend the belt or defend the belt. No, for me, I'm a challenger each and every time I step in there. And so you think about it, who's the challenger? The number one challenger is usually the hungriest guy in the world, because they've never tasted this. They want this. So I'm in that same mindset each and every time when I prepare for these fights. So when I get in there, there's nothing these guys can do that I haven't seen or that I'm not ready for.
That's such a fascinating look at it, because, once you get to the top of the mountain, that's really when the work begins. When you're in the spotlight every single time. You've been able to be a great champion for multiple years now, like years and years and years. After every single 170-pound fight, do you just assume in the UFC now they're going to call you out? And because it feels like after the UFC fight, after you win, you cut a promo and then you call somebody out. And I don't know if everybody calls you out or doesn't, but do you assume everybody's going to call you out? And what goes into deciding who the next fight is, other than just Dana White saying, hey, this is the number one contender? Do you continue to train for people that you think are going to potentially be your next opponent? Like, what is life like as you're watching other people fight weekly here at this point?
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, because it's now, and it's a thought in my head, is there's a 16-year-old on the other side of the world that's training for me right now. They're saying to themselves, I'm about 170 pounds. Who's the 170-pound champion? Usman. Okay, that's the guy that I need to beat. So everyone in the world is training for one guy. And I am training for everybody in the world. and so it's, for me, I'm always training. I'm constantly in the gym. There's really no off season for me. And so if I just keep with that same recipe, whoever comes up next, I'll be able to deal with them. And as far as picking whoever that next guy is, now I'm in a position to where it's almost kind of a joint venture. Obviously, it's the UFC. The promotion still kind of holds precedent on who they feel that next guy is. But now it's kind of us meet with Dana and to really pick who that next guy is, because it's not just shut up and fight this guy. But at the same time, these guys have to earn that shot, to where I'm looking at all those guys kind of in that top 5. Well, unless you're Canelo or Conor McGregor. So those guys in that top 5, then it's like, all right, who's next? That guy looks like he's next. All right, let's go kick his ass.
Do you have any inklings on who's next, right? Because you don't have a fight schedule. Am I wrong in thinking this? Do you not have a fight schedule?
No fight scheduled yet, but I think it'd probably be Leon Edwards. Okay. Because Leon Edwards is he's the only guy up there. He hasn't lost since 2016 or 2015, where he fought me. So I was his last loss, and he's managed to put together a win streak of maybe 10 fights in a row. So, he's kind of put himself in that position to where he's on the short list. But you know what I say, I'm ready for anyone, anytime, whatever, whoever, it doesn't matter. They got to step in there and still get their ass whipped too.
How long does it take for you to become like, because everybody has a fight camp where they go in there, and you say you train all year round, and you're a wrestler by trade. So, I mean, wrestlers are just the most miserable sport. I mean, I played soccer, which is a lot of running, and we used to look at the wrestlers and be like, God damn, those guys have to be so miserable cardio-wise, keeping yourself in shape. But mentally, like if you had a fight in 2 days, not a big deal? Or is there a process because you seem to be very joyful, very kind guy every time we hear you talk, to get into a cage and have to get into that mentality? Is that a full process to get into, or is it like literally any time if a fight had to happen, you'd be ready?
It's a process, but I am still kind of one of those guys to where it's like, yeah, I got to do it. Fuck it, let's do it. It's 2 days, 2 days, and let's get it done. I want to be in striking distance, so one of those things that I do is I'm always at least 2 weeks away from a fight. If I absolutely have to do it, I'm 2 weeks away from a fight. There's fighters right now you can call and say, hey, we need you to step in, and the fight's 2 months away or 4 months away, and these guys are like, I'm not ready, I'm too fat, and I won't be able to make it. I'm 2 weeks away. You give me 2 weeks, I'm going there and give you hell for at least a few rounds. So, awesome. Of course, if I want to prepare the way that I want to prepare, give me about, good 12 weeks. I'll be in there and I'll be looking like myself, but
pound
you
put
per
me in there pound. Yeah, I get it. Go ahead.
If you're always 2 weeks out, what weight do you walk around at if you're going to fight at 170?
So that's the thing, though. I'm starting to get a little older now. My birthday was actually yesterday, so
happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Hey, holy
Thank you.
shit!
I appreciate it.
Happy birthday! Couple
Thank
Tauruses.
You guys, I appreciate it. Yeah. So with that, it's just the body doesn't work the same. You notice it. And Pat, you could attest to that too. You notice it. The body just doesn't recover the way it used to recover. Yeah. And that's bad memories.
Yeah. I mean, I got hungover for like 4 days the other week. I mean, it is. I couldn't imagine going into the cage, but the alcohol did it to me. Yeah, for sure. So do you have to modify how you train, or is it just like a lifestyle thing at this point?
Yeah, a part of it is modifying, but a big part of it too is lifestyle. I can't eat the same crap that I used to be able to eat. At 25, I could just get up cold, get in there and spar 12 rounds and be, okay, I'm good. Now I've got to take freaking an hour just to warm up the joints, put freaking Bengay all over the knees and the shoulders and everywhere just to get going. So it's a process, and also it's just a combination of both to be able to get going. But I still have that. I still have the mentality to where it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter when it is. I'm not going to fail when I go in there. And so I think at that point, whenever it comes to that time where I start to think different, and I'll start to know that there's a change and there's a shift in what I need to do.
Yeah, you're getting old, but you're still the fucking champ, so the hell with it. You mentioned Canelo and Conor earlier, and then there was a headline that just got resent back into the group about you wanting to fight Canelo Alvarez in September. Now, obviously, that would be boxing. How do we feel? We feel good about that? How would we go about, how do you feel about these fights that are happening between, like Conor and Floyd was massive success. I think for absolutely Everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, ESPN crashed, I think, a couple times.
Yeah, it did.
I think the app itself crashed a couple times that night, so they might not have had the best night, but for everybody else, it was awesome. How do you feel about that? Because you are the champ, so I assume that you could command a lot of respect in there, but I think we talked to Dana last week. He hates it because it's out of the comfort zone of usually the UFC fighter, so the boxer looks a lot better than a UFC fighter looks, and then who knows about the business-wise. How would that go about happening? Is that still something you think about, especially after the loss he just had?
Well, the thing is, that was always the plan. Of course, now things change a little bit after that loss, but the plan for me was always that. And the reason that is there's a difference here in what people are seeing and what people are saying. Is Conor versus Floyd, that was a completely different thing, because these guys were both guys who made their lifestyle and their living and their noise from talking, just that noise. These guys can get up there and run their mouth on the microphone to where even if it's nowhere near the truth, you kind of believe it a little bit. You're like, oh shit, damn, can Conor really do this? Can Conor do that? Like that? You start to feel that, you think about that. And that's what made that fight so mega. Now, let's be honest, a lot of people knew kind of what was going to happen, just because Conor was just that guy. And then you're fighting the guy in Floyd who doesn't get hit. I don't care who you are. Professional boxers just won't hit him. He's not one of those guys that's going to stand there and just trade punches with you to where you have a shot. He's not that guy. Now, that was that scenario. That's why that fight was so big, because these guys could talk. Now, the difference is, this is a different scenario. When have you ever had the pound for pound boxer on the planet at that moment, to where he's going to stand there, he's going to bang, he's going to fight, he's coming in there to hurt you. And then you've got the pound for pound mixed fighter on the planet who's coming to fight around the same weight classes, actually do it, and both be in their prime. You've never had that. And I'm not a big talker going out there and talk a bunch of trash, a bunch of shit. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you what I'm capable of doing. And I'm 100%, I stand on that. And you could look at every guy that I've talked about doing certain things to it. And I definitely did those. So Canelo's the exact same way. And so that's what made that fight intriguing. It's because I'm the pound for pound, he's the pound for pound. We're both close to the same size. And we're not just in there to blow smoke. We're not just telling you guys, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. No, we're going to come to fight. And I am brave enough, out of both of us, I'm brave enough to go into your arena to do it. Can you say the same thing? None of these boxers are willing to say it. Unless you're James Toney back in 2000, and I don't know when that was, when he fought Randy Couture. These guys aren't willing to do it. I'm brave enough to say, you know what? Fuck you. I'm coming in there, and I'm gonna come in there and give you hell for as long as I'm able to do this. And so,
how's your boxing?
That
How's your boxing? You train boxing, I'd assume. You train. Obviously.
I mean, you would think I train how to punch people's faces at some point. You would think that. I mean, the thing is, I put in work. I put in work each and every day. You know, whether it's boxing, whether it's kickboxing, you know, whether it's even with strength and conditioning is very important to me. With my guy, Dr. Corey Peacock, we put in the time. And so with that time, I'm confident in my abilities. And listen, when I told you guys, when I said, hey, George Masvidal, you said you wanted a full camp, that you were going to be able to take me out in the full camp. And I said, hey, this time I'm going to knock your head to the moon, and I'm going to do it. After I went out there and dealt with Burns, I got on the mic and I said, Masvidal, you're next. I'll give you another shot. I'll give you a full camp. I'm knocking your head to the moon this time. And everyone said, yo, Masvidal is the best boxer in MMA.
Oh, no. Street Jesus.
Sent him to the shouter room. I think he's still up there. He's still up there.
You have no idea. Your internet just glitched, and then your punchline landed immediately. That was awesome. That was amazing. And I believe, you know, if you want to train boxing, if I were you, I'd get in the Oculus. Okay, I've been boxing people in the Oculus. Okay, I got good head movement in there. And anything you need from me, I got you, man. I don't know how you guys have that ability to walk into that. Like the walk into the cage, and then you get in there, and obviously it's gladiator, kill. It's basically what everybody's saying. It's it's awesome. It's why we love watching it so much. And then you get in there, and they shut that cage, and it's literally just like, all right, it's either you, motherfucker, or it's me. Like that mindset is such an interesting one. It really is. I don't think a lot of people have it. It feels like you love it. Is that at a high? I would assume that moment is a high that's going to be tough to chase for the rest of your life, or what is it exactly when you get in there and it's either kill or be killed almost? Nice, Frozen.
To that, it's a very, very good assessment because it's scary as hell. It's very, very scary, and I can't. By me putting it, putting it into words just doesn't do it justice.
Got it.
To the feeling. It's, if you think about what Michael Chandler did this last weekend, think about that. If you guys watched the fights this last weekend, Michael Chandler versus Tony Ferguson, it's you're afraid of this guy. You think about it. You're afraid. You signed a contract that you're potentially going to get your ass whooped on this date. And so the whole time you're training, you're thinking, shit, I get my ass whooped on this day. So you're scared as hell. The whole time you're scared. You're like, damn, I got to do everything possible for this ass whooping not to be as bad, because it's going to be millions of people watching around the world, and I don't want it to be bad. And so you're training, and then it gets closer and closer until it's fight day. Everything just seems slow. Your punches are super slow in your head, and because you're just so afraid, and that fear keeps you safe and it keeps you grounded in a way. And then it's like they come get you in the back. All right, it's your time. Now you're starting to walk towards that octagon, and inside you want to take a shit, you want to piss, you want to do everything. But then there's nothing, going to come out. But it's like, shit, I signed up for this. I got to go through with it. And you're walking, and as you get closer, you just got to remind yourself all the work that you put in, and it's just like this giant starts to grow inside. At least for the alphas, for the main ones. Some guys, they stay afraid and they just kind of get smaller and smaller. But as for guys like myself, as you get closer, this alpha, this giant, this lion, this god-like figure per se starts to grow and grow and grow and grow. And then they grease me up, and then I step up there, and then I pray for myself, and then I pray for that guy. I pray for what's about to happen. And then I step in there, and it's just like, this is my fucking domain. And you just grow so much in confidence. And I just look at the guy, and I start to feel bad for this guy. And then the fight starts. And of course, you go through the ups and downs of the fight. But what makes it so addicting is the feeling that Michael Chandler felt this last weekend. It's a feeling that I felt after I told George Masvidal what was going to happen to him. He didn't believe me. And then we went in there, and then you put it on, and the adrenaline that takes over your body, it's bigger, better than any drug you've ever done which is not much, that you've ever done in your life.
Your life's much different than mine, I assume.
And it's so powerful to where you saw Michael Chandler. He did, what is it?
Four
or five backflips. Yeah. 4 or 5 backflips after that. I mean, I don't know about you, Pat, but my knees, I'm not doing no damn backflips.
I don't think he even remembered doing them, but I think it was just like, you're so excited, that moment.
Yeah, that moment is what's so addicting, to where after you get in the back and, like that night you're with your family and you're sitting there, you're like, I could do that again. And you completely forget about the 20 pounds that you just had to lose in a week to get down there, and how miserable you were. And you cursed everyone in your camp and everyone. You forget all about that. You're like, I could do that again.